Hey everybody, it's Jeff Rummo with InnRoads Plays, and we are on the last leg of our Summer One Shots tour. We're ending with Dungeons & Dragons, the biggest game in the entire universe, and we've got two sessions. We're going to have Table 1 here this week, and then the following week we're going to be bringing in Table 2, whole new crop of players. But I want to start off with the folks that are on my left, right? I don't know how to do this on this camera, but my first guest for this game is Josh. Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself and what the heck are you doing here, man?
So hi, I'm Josh. I'm a 24-year-old seminary student studying the New Testament. So that's kind of what I do in my free time. So I read a lot of books by dead people, and that's pretty much exclusively what I do. That and play D&D. My wife and I are just completing a year of marriage, so that's pretty rock and rolling. We've been together 5 years, and then we decided we should probably get married, and so that's what we did. She was here in Colorado, and I was in Arkansas, and we decided why not.
Ooh, that's tough.
It was gross. It was gross for a time. So I started playing tabletop RPGs in college, and it's kind of just become an ever-growing addiction ever since. I'm currently in therapy. It's hard, but it's fine. So that's what I do. It's kind of why I'm here. I love D&D, love hanging out, and so I'm playing a gnome cleric whose name is Dietrich von Tinkahama, and I love him. He's so great. He's an optimist, and he labels himself as a conflict resolution expert. He's not big on violence. He's very much violence is a last resort. He will try and talk his way out of anything, and he's always willing to end most conflicts with a hug or at least a firm, warm handshake. In his words, the world is getting better. We just have to keep pushing it that way.
Right, man. And the gauntlet has been set with an awesome accent. So,
oh boy,
Brian, it's up to you, man, to pick up the baton. Let's see what you got, buddy.
All right. Well, my name is Brian. I've just returned back to the U.S. actually after about 15 years abroad, and I'm taking a year off from work. So, fixing up an old house. So it has yet to turn into the year of gaming that I hoped it would. But we're working our way for that. So I've been playing board games and Euro games for 5-6 years now, and just this past year kind of started getting interested in maybe doing some tabletop RPGing. Picked up the Age of Empire and the Star Wars one, the beginner game, and sort of dabbled with some friends. We had no idea what we were doing, and sort of dipped our toes in. And so this is actually my first experience as a role player. And so I jumped on the chance to do the summer one shots with D&D, see what it was all about. So I'm excited to see how this goes, and you'll have to forgive me for any of my flaws. So I'm going to be playing Brumblebeck Craghart, who is a dwarven man of leisure. He has some secrets that he'd prefer others not know about. He'd prefer that you just get him a nice drink, tell him where the good clothes are all located, and if there's any adventuring to be had, he would do that for sport. So.
Nice. Yeah, I'm hoping that by the end of this session, I won't be the only one who knows a little bit about his background. So, at the very least, at the end of this, when we do the wrap up, you can divulge if necessary. So,
if it doesn't come out.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next up is Brendan. How about it, man?
All right, so my name is Brendan Tolliver. I work for Child Protective Services. I'm actually a supervisor now. My plug would be don't abuse your children. That's
kind of an obvious one, yeah.
Yeah, so
but it's good. Hey,
I shouldn't have to say that,
Learn your stuff here, kids, if you can't learn it anywhere else. I mean,
right. So but I've been married for 11 years at the end of the month. I have 3 kids. We have been together for about 11 years. Not the kids, but my wife. Mostly just we did not date long before we got married. My kids ranged from 3 to 9. My 9-year-old just informed me that his favorite people in Star Wars is the Empire. It was a sad day.
We had a discussion on this on Facebook, didn't we?
Yes, that's right. And it's all because they have stuff, which is also disappointing. But
he also mentioned that they have order, right?
No, he didn't. He just liked that they had stuff. I wish they just had some like political. At least if he had a political philosophy in line with the Empire, I wouldn't agree with it. But at least he was developing his own opinions. But he is only 9, so
if you can't support
maybe it's too
your
early for
positions
that.
by now, I don't wish to talk to you.
That's right. So as far as role playing, so I'm 32, I think. I don't know how old I am anymore.
Lose track after a while.
I probably started when I was about maybe 16. I didn't play all the time. We tried to play when I was young, and we started with 3.5. Didn't go particularly well. It was kind of hit and miss. But after I got married, after a few years, it's like, you know what? I don't have any friends anymore except for my wife, which she is a great friend. But sometimes you need more than one friend. So I looked around in Portland area for a D&D group. Found a D&D group. We played for a while. I actually graduated to a different system called Savage Worlds. That's kind of the system that I prefer. And we started with 4E, which is not a system I prefer. Whatever. So, but I recently moved out to John Day, which is in the middle of nowhere. I don't have a D&D group anymore. We call it a D&D group, even though we never play D&D. But so I'm just looking for opportunities to play with the best place to do it at the moment.
Nice.
Everybody just is dead animals in their wall out here. So
I'm surprised you're not playing a ranger tonight. Then
Yeah, well, I don't do much dead animal things. So
gotcha. Divinations brought to you by Brendan.
Right.
All right. So who are you playing, man?
So I am playing Platinum Mick Kingsley. He's essentially what a WCW, I don't know what it's called anymore, based off 80s wrestling. He is a bard who uses his skill as a wrestler to inspire those around him, and his magnificent wrestling taunts to inspire fear in his enemies.
Daunting words.
That's right. So they will be bards as fighters. Apparently, don't work very well, but we'll see how it goes.
Awesome.
I'm already loving it. So you're ahead of the curve, man. All these characters are just awesome. All right. Well, we'll talk the finer politics of having a new world order under the Empire with your son soon.
I know.
We'll have to get a whole chat group set up for him, because I mean, when I was 9 years old, I was trying to run around smelling rainbows. It's like, is there a rainbow around here? Do you smell that? So he's way ahead of the curve. I gotta say that, that's for sure.
He loves to build things. He would be right in there. So
yeah, he does. All right. Well. Oh, Jacob's camera.
Perfect timing.
Jacob's camera.
Did he lose connection?
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Jake?
He's camera shy.
Jake is typing.
Audio
keeps breaking up.
up.
I just suddenly started losing. I got a notification that my connection to the server just took a dump.
All right. Go ahead and why don't you refresh your browser and see if that gets you a better connection. Or jump out of the session and jump back in. That's not a problem. Did you hear me, Jake? No, there he goes. Okay, maybe he might be recycling now. There he goes. And I've effectively already killed a player. And it's only, what,
Haven't even
5
started.
minutes into the game. I haven't even started
Oh,
the game.
man.
I'm killing play. What is this, Traveler? Come on. And I say that because in Traveler you can die during character creation. So that way that joke kind of lands better. I'm frozen. Come back in. Come on,
All right.
yeah.
I
Jake's
can hear
back.
everybody.
Can you hear us?
Sorry about that. I was sticking with everything right until the end of Brendan's introduction, and then everything started breaking apart.
All right. Well, hopefully the signal will remain strong. So, Edit Bay 9000 doing its job here. Choppy, choppy, cut, cut. All right. Last one up, and certainly not in the least, we got Jake. Talk to us about your life and your character, my friend.
All right. So my name is Jake. I'm also known around the internet as Mini Terrain Domain. I have a YouTube channel, Mini Terrain Domain, where I design, build, and do tutorials on building 3D dungeon terrain and accessories for tabletop gaming, primarily Dungeons and Dragons. And I also run a lot of games. I do a lot of DMing and run a lot of broadcast one-shots on my channel. I played my first D&D years ago. I played AD&D 2E, and I had a really great time with it, but then I was no longer with those friends. I moved to a different part of the state. A couple years later, while I was in the Army, I played almost every weekend with some friends. Again, 2E. And then I got stationed in Europe and wound up doing a couple tours in Bosnia. Wasn't a lot of time for playing role-playing games. And nobody was really into it. And so I didn't play D&D again until the tail end of 4th edition. And I tried so hard to get back into it, and I really enjoyed it, but I did not enjoy 4th edition very much. But thankfully, the D&D Next playtest came out, and I immediately got in on the playtesters group, and I fell in love with what would become D&D 5th edition. It's the first edition of D&D that I'm a part of from the very beginning. I've off camera here. I have a stack of every 5th edition book that's come out, the official books with Storm King's Thunder on the way. I'm all in on this edition. I absolutely love DMing. I had the fortune of having Jeff as a player in a game I ran. We determined almost a year ago.
That was my fortune too, because I got to play a halfling, so I had fun.
It was a great time. I absolutely love it. I am playing over on the RPG Construct. We had our first game of a new campaign in 5th edition in a homebrew world last night. Yeah, so that's kind of my gaming. 43 years old. My wife and I just last month celebrated 21 years of marriage. I have two teenagers, a 16-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter that haven't killed me yet or each other, as much as they try. And I work in my day job. I work in publishing as a digital and electronic publishing coordinator. Tonight, I am going to be playing the young tiefling sorceress who goes by the name of Winter Solace. Winter has always known the sea. She was born at sea on we'll call it a trading vessel. The cargo wasn't always so legitimate, but then again, neither was she. And she only recently, within the last few years, as she started to kind of become a teenager, she started to experience these strange new abilities and innate magics, and it kind of filled her with excitement, and she wanted to leave the ship and go out and exploring, and adventuring, and she's done just a little bit of that, just enough to get out there and get her feet wet, so to speak. So she's really looking forward to get out there and seeing what kind of trouble she can cause.
Nice. Well, that's our party. That's what we're gonna have fun with tonight here, guys. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope I do these guys justice, just because I want to honor their creativity, and they've spent a lot of time behind the scenes crafting these characters, and even right up to the end, there was like a little text back and forth between a couple of them, like kind of getting into character, doing a little verbal play back and forth. Fantastic stuff. So I hope I do it justice. I'm going to have a lot of fun trying. And we will see all of you on the flip side when we talk a little bit about basically the after action report of the session. And in between here and there, you'll have a few highlights of the game. So hope you all enjoy this. We'll be looking forward to talking to you on the flip side. So you guys split up. Let's go with the dwarf, the dwarf visitation. So Brumblebeck and Mick, you guys head over to this kind of like it's kind of like a couple of benches that have been kind of put together, long tables, and so the dwarves can kind of stand on it and yell back and forth, and they're talking with a couple of other humans and stuff. But for the most part, they look like they're local. They've got kind of that style of braid in their hair. They've got long braids behind them as well, and they see you coming up and. So how do you introduce yourselves? They stop when they look at you, the two of you.
As I'm walking up, do I get any kind of sense of social standing and social class among? Are these
Give me an insight check.
Oh, this will with my -1 insight there.
Yeah, you never know.
Bing.
Ooh, okay.
Oblivious.
You're looking at the three of them, and one of them looks down at you and basically says, "What do you want? What are you looking at?"
Well, hello, my good man. I'm Brumblebeck Cragheart of the Undervale Craghearts. I'm sure you've heard of us before. I was wondering if I could trouble you for some pipeweed. I heard that you may have some that I could procure. Also, this is Platinum Mick Kingsley. He's quite good at everything.
Greetings, little men.
What? What are they saying? And like one of the ones in the back steps forward and is like shoving the other dwarves out of the way. What does that Daniel send? Someone calls the farm there. Does either of you speak Dwarvish? I think probably Brumblebeck does.
Yes, I do.
Mick, do you speak Dwarvish or no?
I barely speak English.
Yeah,
common. Sorry, common.
He basically yells out in Dwarvish that he's going to use his daughter's butter knife to cut off his genitalia and shove it somewhere.
Mick, I believe this gentleman is not very fond of you.
That's not possible. Is he offended that I called him little? Everybody here is little to me.
The guy who's was starting to get angry kind of looks at him and he's like, I like him a lot. All right, let's bring over some drinks. What are you here for? You here for pipeweed, huh, dandy fellow? He's like looking at you, Rumblebeck.
Yes, I do believe I've said this now.
Oh, well, give him some pipeweed. Come on, bring it over. And so one of the guys shuffles forward, and he's kind of like moving a little unsteady, even for a dwarf. And he hands you a pouch. He actually tosses it to you, and so you grab it.
Pulls out his pipe and begins just loading his bowl there. And oh, I thank you, my good man. Now.
One of the dwarves shoves the other one aside and looks at your pipe and says, I've seen the prows of ships that are smaller than that.
Well, my good man, but do you look at this intricate decal? I carved it myself.
And he's like, oh, nice.
I
nice
do
and dandy.
Well,
so what is it that you want?
I did the pipeweed. Oh, and thank you, sir.
All right.
I would like to hone in on something now. As we walk, friends, I've I've noticed that there is a distinctly dark feeling about this pillar. In Winter and I's conversation, the statement of agitation, irritation, dark feelings were mentioned as emanating from this.
As if kind of punctuating that, you hear in the distance like a couple of crows cawing, and then kind of flapping away.
That's quite true. The dwarves were quite insistent that we not mess with the stone, and that underneath it, I said they were quite serious. And dwarves are almost always serious, but they were very serious.
It rubs me the wrong way. The very notions that there is something dark, something that ought not to see perhaps the light of day, rubs me the wrong way. And perhaps that's because I worship Halo. Perhaps it's because I believe in light. I believe in the sun. But part of me wonders quietly if this pillar is not doing more to harm this town than to help it.
But were we not hired to keep things secret that ought remain secret?
So far, I think we've seen 2 legs of a tripod. Swina may be that 3rd leg that'll help us to fully understand what it is that's happening here and the nature of this. I feel that the Reeve Martine was being perhaps brutally honest with us. Tekka, perhaps not so much so. That's just my opinion, but I think there's a lot she was not telling us. But she seemed true enough about Swina. I'm not disregarding your words in any way, Dietrich. Your opinion, of course, particularly relating to the religious and the holy, is most valuable. But I think we should reserve judgment and action until we've seen the 3rd part of this triangle.
Yeah, I think that you are right, but I remain cautious.
They seem to be wise words from Winter, if I knew what wisdom was.
What need have I of such things? Heavy brush and vines and stuff have kind of covered over steps that lead down and into a small area, and then there's a brief glimpse of moonlight as it shines down on what looks to be some kind of an opening or a doorway.
So since Winter's up there, I'm gonna say, hey, Winter, what is that over there? It looks like a hole. Because I'm not going over there.
Being somewhat nervous, I think he would say, friends, we have a duty. We must go in there. We must investigate. We owe it to the people of this town. We owe it to the person who hired us.
All we have to do is keep secret secret. Let's shut the door.
If we shut the door...
The door was already open.
Yeah. If we shut the door, then the people will continue to suffer. It's not noble. As a highborn, you know this.
But...
Nice.
Friend, you know at your deepest level that those who are born into wealth and responsibility have a need to care for those without. We are not given position to lord it, but rather to assist those underneath us.
These people are not underneath us. We're not even from here. I'm from Undervale.
And if someone walked into Undervale, would you not want them to do the same?
Oh, blasted gnomes.
It's one of the more polite things I've ever heard. And Nick, you are a hero, a legend, a monster, the dude, the thunder. For you to not go in is uncharacteristic. It would damage your legend. And wouldn't that be bad?
Well, let it not be said that Platinum ever runs from a fight.
Oh, good Lord, man. Are we going in then?
Was there ever any
Wait.
doubt?
I think considerable doubt.
If it makes you feel any better, I feel much safer with you two.
Fine, let's follow the girl.
Wonderful. Do so love when we make team decisions.
These formations, they look like they were made by elves. I mean, this is the lousiest stonework I've ever seen.
Are you insulting the Stones or Brumbleback?
The stones.
Flat out offensive. It totally is. What did you guys think? We've come to the conclusion of the story. I will point over towards Dietrich, towards Josh, and see, what did you think of the system, of the unfolding adventure, that sort of thing, things that could have been better. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really nice to play D&D and not have to DM all the time. Like, that's something that I'm like, I was really stoked about this. And yeah, Roll20 is a really stellar platform, I think. I had never really played on here, so this was a really neat experience. I feel like I have kind of a love-hate relationship with one-shots. Like, I think they're super fun because you can introduce people to D&D.
Right.
But at the same point, like, you kind of, like, as time goes on, like, there is a level of camaraderie that you build up, and then it just goes away because it's one shot. But yeah, no, I had a great time.
We'll come back to that. But yeah,
Okay.
I hear what you're saying.
And it's been put. But yeah, no, I had a great time. Like, honestly, like, I am super, as much as I enjoy the cleric and his combat capabilities and all that fun stuff, what really drove me, yes, we have Jake back.
Jake's back. Yes.
I've been listening.
Stellar. What really drove me was I just really, like, I super dug the characters that we came up with and kind of their really fun quirkiness and ridiculosity in some ways, to make a new word. I'm in seminary. I can do that. I'll just write words. Whatever.
Whatever. It's all good.
But yeah. So yeah, really, really positive experience.
Good. I'm glad. Anything you think we could have done better, or something that you wouldn't mind seeing as an improvement?
I don't think that it's something that necessarily, like, we could have done better, but I think a fight between Keto and Tekka and a Wraith at the end would have been pretty hype.
Yeah.
And that's just an issue of time, And that is, and we got kind of plagued with some tech issues. I mean, I had a power outage.
That did.
Yeah, what the heck? She goes out of nowhere.
Yep, I couldn't get on.
I don't deserve this.
And that's one of the. I totally agree. That's one of the downfalls of doing this kind of mode of communication. Not being able to get around the table, but making do with what you can.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
So
That's for sure.
rock and roll.
Cool. All right, Brumblebeck, aka Brian. What'd you think?
Well, I mean, it was a blast. It was, like I said, it was my first experience as a role player, and I would say this is probably one of the first experiences, you know, I don't know what to say, a proper role-playing game, but being able to do it with somebody else where I wasn't somehow the guy who was supposed to know stuff, just because I had read the rule book maybe.
Hey,
So
you helped me out once or twice. It was really good. You all did a great job of supporting that. Thanks.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed the experience and just that fun ability to go, okay, I've got something, and then somebody else comes up with something and go, all right, I'm gonna let that go and let's go over there and see what so that just that fun creative aspect of it, and trying to I enjoyed the Brumblebeck was a character I came up with when I set myself the task to come up with a character who would be totally not what I would want a character to be, like that. And so there were times I'm like when we were in the Longhouse, I'm like, would Brumblebeck go with these people? No, I think we probably should, but Brumblebeck wouldn't. He'd go straight,
Yeah,
and
that was a big turn for the RP as well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, getting to choose those things. So that was fantastic, and it was interesting. I felt that I could feel the tension between wanting to role play it and have fun with that, but also knowing we were delaying the battle at the end, and
totally fine.
So that was an interesting experience, just that dynamic of going, you know what? I don't know if I really care, That was.
Well, as long as you're having fun with the RP, I mean, that was
yeah.
Well, we'll put a pin in that too. I'll talk about that at the end. All right, cool. All right, Platinum, Mick Kingsley, aka Brendan.
Oh, I really enjoyed it as well. I've always, in my D&D groups, I think we would go whole sessions without ever fighting anybody. And I think that's really where I find most of the enjoyment in the game. I mean, it can be a little bit of fighting, but if you spend like 3 hours on a fight, I mean, it's not that fun, at least in my opinion. So, I know I played nights where, we were supposed to end at 10. We were up to like 1 just because we were in one fight the whole time, and it's not enjoyable. So I like the role playing. I also thought, when you come into new groups, it's the dynamics can be different. You never know what you're kind of going to get. Some people enjoy role playing, but aren't necessarily, maybe they don't fit with the group or not necessarily comfortable with it. And I felt like everybody was really meshed well in this group, and everybody felt like they could role play their character. The only thing I would have done better is I would have liked to think of more one-liners for Platinum before I came up.
That's for sure.
But no, I enjoyed it. So I mean, certainly, I would have taken the role playing over the alternate boss battle any day. So
yeah.
So I think that was fine, and I enjoy the role playing from all the players. So
cool. Well, definitely enjoying the creativity you guys are bringing to the table. But all right, let's jump over to Winter, aka Jake, before something happens. Take it away, brother.
Yeah, I think all of you guys kind of touched on some of my thoughts. I really enjoyed the RP. I kind of went into this with one view of Winter Solace and who she was, and because of the role play opportunities that were presented and the choices as a group that were made, she took a different, an unexpected turn for me. I had no intention of exploring the wild magic inherent nature inside of her. I was just planning to play her as a naive sailor and new adventurer on the land. But that's the great thing about playing these characters and letting the role-playing take over is you get to just have fun with it. So it didn't bother me at all that we weren't fighting for a few hours. The fighting's fun. I like it. This is the second late night, roughly 4-hour game that I've played in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And normally I DM. I just like to DM. I love one shots. I love running one shots. But it's been nice to play for a change because I don't have to think about as much. And it's really cool to explore these characters. Roll20 for me as a player. Now, this is the first time I've ever played on Roll20 utilizing actually tokens and moving things around, especially dynamic lighting. And as a player, utilizing, and the character sheet too. I've never used the character sheet in there. As a player, I found it not a problem at all. Everything was easy to follow. I like all of the built-in features of being able to click on different things and have it do the dice rolls for you. It kind of simplified things. Even the slower parts is having to type in the commands, for rolling the dice didn't feel restrictive. As a DM, I would rather spend my time crafting either real physical dungeons for physical gameplay or crafting adventures for one-shots than trying to build something in this platform. That may change, especially with the relatively recent partnerships between Wizards of the Coast and Roll20, and the fact that you can get it, because I like running official supplements and campaign material as well. So as a platform, I say I give it a solid. I'm gonna say a B plus.
Nice.
And that's the platform. Playing with all of you guys was amazing. As you said, Brendan, there's always that unknown quantity of playing with strangers. Jeff's the only one that I knew. But I think we had the advantage of having this be developing for a few weeks so we could chat in the group and get to know one another a little bit. I think that makes it a little bit better. You get a sense of the dynamic that you're going into. But technological difficulties aside, I had a blast all the way around. Great storytelling. Jeff, I've only before caught a glimpse of your characterizations. I absolutely loved I've forgotten her name now. Sowina, I think, was her name.
Mm-hmm.
When you were doing the voice, that was great. But when you gave that handout and showed that unique artwork of her, which was not what I had in my mind,
right,
but the two went together so perfectly and made that scene come alive for me.
Oh, thanks, man.
But the whole game with your storytelling and the whole group, I felt like I was in the tavern or the longhouse. I felt like we were walking through the streets of the strange town and standing. I could almost feel the heat of Sowina's hands. It was so visceral.
Cool.
So yeah, it was awesome.
Well, thanks. But I definitely had a super big blast, putting this all together for you guys and just seeing what you guys came up with. I mean, half the fun of this, I think, is the run up to the one shot, because you're seeing what you guys are developing in the characters, and it's almost kind of there's almost a twinge of sadness because I know it's only a one shot, because I see how much work you guys have put into the characters, but at the same time I can't help but just sit back and enjoy what you guys bring to the table. So I just want to say thanks for all the work you put into it. I really, really appreciate it. The prep for, as far as Roll20 goes, the prep for it is not too bad. I think the most tedious part is the dynamic lighting, setting up the little walls, that barrier in the light. And then what you do is you do that, and you grab a token, and then you set the token to what they see, and then you can kind of find out if you have little holes in the light and stuff. That's about the worst part of it, but like you said, the partnership with WotC is going to bring in some good stuff. I picked up Lost Mines of Phandelver not too long ago, and I'm running my original group from back in the day through it, and all of it's all preset. And you mentioned Storm Giants. I'm looking at putting something together next year to have a long-term campaign to run that through. So we'll see how we get that put together and how that comes together. So I definitely like to do that because it's all preset. So all I have to do is just read the adventure and I'm done. But yeah, and I can just focus on NPCs, focus on the characters and stuff. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for the effort you put into this and for the characterizations and turning things in different directions. My intent was to like get you guys into the longhouse and then talk with Tekka and Kito, and then they were going to give you extra gold to go and stop whoever was trying to get in, and then you go and talk to Serwina and stuff. But then you ended up like, you know, talking to the Reeve and talking to the dwarves, and it turned everything around. And I'm so glad for it. I'm so glad. I've learned long ago as a longtime GM that I am so happy when my players derail my campaign. I love it because it just takes it in a whole new direction. So thank you for that. Thank you very much. So, all right. Well, everybody out there, I hope you have enjoyed the intros, outros, and the highlights that went on with this game. We've got another table that's coming up next week. So, or at least in a week's time, we'll see how the videos get released here. But thanks again for joining us, and look for some more one-shot possibilities in 2017, or putting a plan together, or at least I'm putting a plan together. It's so late, I can't tell. But thanks again for joining us, and we will see you at the table